All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, you see it on the screen, it is time to revisit Red Yellow Sabo. Now, today's video will be very similar to yesterday's as far as the sequencing goes, as far as the format goes. Let me go and break it down for you real quick. First things first, we're going to be checking out one game on the sim. That's right, guys. We have one game to go over on the sim. And then after that, we're going to do kind of like a deep dive breakdown on Red Yellow Sabo. And I'm going to tell you guys what I think about the leader in OP-12 and going into OP-13. Okay, so that's kind of the whole idea behind today's video. So, as usual, I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Okay, now let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. Let me get this leader picture off the screen so y'all can see what's going on here. We have one game to go over on the sim. We have a game versus Red-Green Luffy. Now, this is, of course, OP-13 Luffy, and the version of Red Yellow Sabo we're going to be looking at today is going to be an OP-13 legal version, but there's only a few cards that are actually from OP-13 within the list. So when we get to the deck building part of today's video, I will explain how to knock it back down to OP-12 and still be, I think, pretty viable. Okay, so let's do this, guys. We got the volume off. Let's get the speed on 2x, and here we go. Okay, so I'm going to mention this a lot more. Hang on, let me pause once I see. Okay, yeah, so we're going second here. I'm going to break this down way more once we get into the deck building part or the deck breakdown. But I think we want to start playing towards aggression more as Red Yellow Sabo. Yes, we can build a very strong mid-range Revo army, Sabo build right now. Especially now that we have Kuma, right? We actually can build a pretty solid mid-range Revo Army tempo build, and I think I even showed that off in our in the last Red Yellow Sabo video that I did. I will be sure to link that in the comment section below. And of course, guys, if you're interested in this leader, I will have an entire playlist linked down in the comment section below for you guys to check out. I think there's going to be like 38 different videos in that playlist now, guys, just exclusively Red Yellow Sabo content. Almost 40 videos of Red Yellow Sabo. But I think in the last video we covered on Red Yellow Sabo, we were running a Revo Army build. Okay, and it was more of a tempo mid-range list. But I think now that we're in OP-12 and after messing around with the format and seeing how things are shaping up, I think going more aggressive will be the way going forward, especially once we get into PRB02 and going into OP-13. I think we're going to want to build much more aggressive because some of these decks getting into the, especially OP-13, okay, guys? Some of these OP-13 decks, once they get to the late game, it's probably just game over. So I think we're going to have to play to what I think is Red and Yellow's greatest strength, which is just being as aggressive as possible while having a little bit of life tricks to mess around with along the way. And since this is Red Yellow Sabo, also gaining life in the process by using the Goa Kingdom 2-cost characters. Okay, so again, we'll talk more about that as we get into the deck list breakdown portion of the video. So here we go. All that to say, I think we want to go first, guys, because now we're going to be, I'm going to be building the deck, I think, in a much more aggressive direction. So going first, I think, might be the way to go moving forward. Now, here we go. We are going second in this game. I think the Luffy won the dice roll and chose to go first, but I think we would prefer going first. So right here we go, turn one, Searcher. Notice we did the 1-cost Searcher event, the Three Brothers Bond event, and we played out the new OP-13 Monkey D Garp, which allows us to search up a 3-cost or higher card. So really solid Searcher for Red Yellow Sabo. Okay, so they're going to swing for 5. We are going to aggressively take that first hit because we can gain life, and we want to get down to 2 life with this version of the build because I am running the 5-cost 7,000 power Rush Ace. Okay, we play out the Shanks. Now, guys, pay very close attention. Okay, I think we're probably going to take this hit down to 2 life. Pause. Pay very close attention to this Shanks in this matchup. MVP, okay? We're talking MVP all-star status for this specific matchup. This Shanks gets some major mileage in this game. Okay, so they're going to swing for 6. Okay, we are actually going to 2K counter out, and then they're going to pass the turn back. They developed a Sanji, and before that they developed a 3-cost Bonnie. Both of those have ways to get Dawn back. Like at the end of your turn, Sanji stands a Dawn, and that Jory Bonnie has on opponent's attack stand a Dawn. So we're going to swing in for 7. They use their leader effect and I think they use double leader effect, and then they use a leader effect and a 1K to get out of our second 7K attack. So we're putting on the pressure. We're eating up their hand, even through Red-Green Luffy's extremely powerful defensive event. Okay, they're going to play out the 6-cost Trafalgar Law. They're going to pull back the 3-cost Bonnie, cheating out the Sanji. That's a 7,000 power character, and that stood 2 more Dawn as active. And now they're going to attach a Dawn to their leader. They're going to swing in. We go ahead and use our Shanks' ability to reduce the power of their leader by 2,000. And then they go ahead and pass the turn, and they have 3 Dawn this turn to deal with, okay, for their leader effect. That's 6,000 power we have to get through in counter. For free, just free counter power. Okay, so right here, guys, it looks like we're going to slam down Luffy. We're going to go 7 into 5 here. I'm trying to get him to use some of his Dawn. He does. He uses a Dawn and a 1K counter. Okay, we got a card out of hand and 1 Dawn. That's really good. Now we're going to push the Luffy back to our life, use the 2-cost Luffy to play him back out. That was with our leader effect, right? Pause. For any of the newer players listening, we were able to push Luffy because he was a 7,000 power character with a cost of 3 or more. We can push him to our life with our leader's effect if we have 1 Dawn attached, and then we play out the 2-cost Luffy to cheat him back into play from the top of our life, and then our leader gets plus 2,000 power until the start of our next turn, or I think it might be until the end of our opponent's next turn, but I think it's actually until the start of our opponent's, actually no, I think it is until the end of our opponent's next turn, Sorry, guys. The actual buff that the leader gives is until the start of our next turn. Okay, so we swing in for 7. They actually use Charleston to counter out of that. We're going to smash in again here for 8,000. They use 2 Dawn. I think they messed that up, or maybe they changed their mind. They might have decided, you know what, we're actually going to take that hit and see if he wants to swing in with the Shanks. We're not taking that bait just yet. Guys, I don't want him to get rid of my Luffy. I don't want him to have the opportunity to get rid of Luffy unless they just go all out here. Okay, because we have a 2K in hand, a 1K in hand, and we have the Shanks effect. Okay, they're going to go 6 and a 6. We're not going to use Shanks' effect here. We're probably just going to give him the 2-cost ace here, yeah, to get out of that. And now he's going to swing in for 7. We get a free block with our leader, or excuse me, with our Shanks. Again, guys, this Shanks is getting such insane value. Right here, guys, we're going to trash the Luffy to give minus 2,000 to their leader, and then we're going to save the Luffy in that way. That was insane, guys. Did y'all notice how much value the Shanks got in just that 1 turn? Because of our leader effect, it was an 8,000 power blocker. So we blocked 1 attack, and then we got a brick out of our hand to get out of another attack. Absolutely incredible value if you think about that, guys. Okay, now it's back to my turn. Here we go. Let's see what we decide to do here. We are on 2x speed, right? Right, guys? Let me check. Okay, yeah, we're on 2x speed. I just keep pausing so much. So we play out the 5-cost ace, and since we have 2 or less life cards, that character actually gets rushed from its on-play effect. We're going to swing 7 into 5 here, or 7 into 7, excuse me. They're going to use 1 Dawn to get out of that. Okay, well, I guess they're going to run out of Dawn eventually, theoretically, right? That's the idea. Watch this, guys. We're going to swing 6 into 6 and attach a rested Dawn with our Luffy's effect to our leader. That law is not a Straw Hat character, so they cannot protect that Trafalgar Law. We're going to push the 7-cost ace into life, buffing our Shanks again. We're going to play out the 5-cost 7K ace, getting a 2-cost ace from our trash, playing out the 7-cost ace from the 5-cost ace from the top of our life. We're a 7,000 power leader now. We're going to go 7 into 6 here. Let's see if he wants to save this. He could technically block with his chopper here, and then I think use the leader effect, or you'd have to do it the other way around. Use your leader effect to buff the chopper and then block with it. And now we're going to go 8 into 6, and we still have our Shanks. Okay, they're going to do that, and now, again, we're just going to keep attacking in, guys. We have completely changed direction. We have attacked so aggressively early on. Now we can switch into a more defensive play style because our leader effect allows us to gain life. Okay, now they're starting to get aggressive, guys. Now our opponent is starting to get aggressive. They're going to swing 9 into us. We're going to take that. We're a 7,000 power leader. They're going to swing 8. Okay, they're going to swing 8,000 into our Luffy. That makes more sense. I think we're just going to have to let that go. It's going to cost us too much from our hand to save that. We don't want to do that. Okay, so now they're going to pass the turn back to us. We're just waiting for our opponent to pass the turn back. Very nice. We got a 2-cost ace from the top of our deck. That's a really strong top deck here, but I don't think we're actually going to use that here. So watch this, guys. I'm going to swing for 7 first. He gives me 2 Dawn to get out of that. I'm going to swing for 7 more. Nice. Thank you very much. Now you're down to 1 Dawn left. Now we're going to play out Monkey D. Dragon, and we're going to attach 2 Dawn to our Sabo, and now we're going to go 9 into 7. We kind of tricked him, didn't we? It looked like we were going for lethal this turn. Nope, we actually tricked him. We're not going for lethal. We could have. If he had taken all those hits, we could have gone for lethal. But nope, we're going to go ahead and go for the board now. We're going to block her up. We're going to gain a life. We're going to swing for 7. And then I think we're just going to pass the turn, guys. They take that hit. Any trigger? No trigger. Okay, just going to pass the turn. We have 2 life and a blocker. And we have 4K counter in hand and actually 5K counter in hand. So they're going to go and play out the Nami to do some searching. Very nice. Playing out the Trafalgar Law to pull back the Nami for more searching later. Really nice interaction there with that Trafalgar Law. Playing out the Sanji, getting 2 Dawn back as active. They're going to swing for 6. They get to stand another Dawn back as active at the end of the turn with the Sanji. And now that they're down to 1 life, that Trafalgar Law is a blocker. Guys, that Trafalgar Law is also a blocker. Okay, well, I think what we can do here, there's a lot of different things we could do here. We could go for the board. We can make a super aggressive attack at life here with our leader effect in the 2-cost characters in hand. So we're going to start off with a 9K hit. They're going to give us 2 Dawn and a 1K to get out of that. I'm going to pull back the ace here. I'm going to swing for 9 more. This is probably an attack they need to take, to be honest here, guys. Okay, they're going to tap the remaining Dawn and go from there. Well, we're going to cheat out this ace and buff our leader, and now we're coming in for 9 more. We're going to go 9 into 7. There we go. We switched it on them again, guys. We switched it up on them again. We actually went for the board. Well, now I'm going to go 5 at you. I'm going to go 5 at face here, and now watch this. We put him in a really uncomfortable position. Oh, you want to block that? Okay, well, I'm actually going to force you to have the counter in hand. We're going to swing for 8. We're waiting for a trigger. I'm just waiting for them to click if they have a trigger or not. Guys, they might have forgot, and now we're swinging in for 8, and that's going to be a good game there. They did not have enough. We could have technically played even safer there, where we just where we just go 8 into the Trafalgar Law and then 8 more into Trafalgar Law. That is something we could have done, but in this position right here, remember, we're a 7,000 power leader, and we have 2 2Ks and a 1K in hand, and we have the 2 life and the shanks on the board. So even though it looks like there's 2 bricks in my life, one of those ends up being a 2K counter because of the shanks. Unless they want to attack into the shanks, and then, okay, sure, be my guest, right? So it served its purpose anyway. So really good stuff there, guys. I have to say, this shanks is unreal, guys. The 4-cost shanks in this matchup had nearly infinite value throughout the course of the game. It allowed us to fix our hand, get some bricks out of hand to recycle us 2K counters. It was an 8,000 power blocker when we needed it, or an 8,000 power attacker when we needed it. Seems really good. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the deck list and talk about Red Yellow Sabo now. Okay, we're going to go through the deck list real quick, starting off with the leader. Sabo is a red-yellow Dressrosa Revolutionary Army type leader, 5,000 power and 4 life. With the effect Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. You may add 1 of your 3-cost or higher characters with 7,000 power or higher to the top of your life face up. And then give up to 1 of your characters plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Okay, there is a little bit of a timing thing to consider there for the players who don't know this, and it does matter sometimes with effects that are like Time Warp Luffy and stuff like that. So notice the leader effect here. This will give your character plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn, whereas these 2-cost characters, notice how these work real quick. Okay, activate main, trash this character, look at the top card of your life. If that card is a 5-cost ace, or if this one's a 5-cost Luffy, you may play it. And if you play it, up to 1 of your leaders gets plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. And there is a difference there when it comes to timing. When it comes to cards like the 10-cost Luffy, like I was saying, it is just nice to know that stuff. Like this one right here. This allows you to take an extra turn if you do the on-play Dawn -10. Well, these characters do not get around a Time Warp style effect. However, this leader's effect does. If whatever character you buffed by 2,000 with this leader's effect, that is until the start of your next turn, the Sabo player's next turn. So even if they Time Warp, you're still good on that. Okay. All right, let's that was kind of crazy, right? We went off on a tangent there, but hey, for any of the new players, it's good to know that stuff. It could win you games down the road. You never know. All right, so now we're going to go through the entire list. I'm going to mouse over each card, guys. So for the newer players out there, be sure to pause and read what each one of these cards does. So we're running 3 of the new Monkey D. Garp from OP-13. We're running 4 of the 2K Counter Promo Luffy, 2 Kid and Killer, 2 Shanks, 4 of the ST21 Rush Luffy, 2 Monkey D. Dragon, 4 of the 1-cost Searcher Garp from ST13, running 4 Zeus, running 4 of the 2-cost Ace and 4 of the 2-cost Luffy, 4 of the new OP-12 Baby 5, new for us in the West, right, for OP-12, and they're running 3 of this PRB02 Portgas D Ace, 4 of the ST13 Ace, 2 Gum Gum Mulgun, and 4 Three Brothers Bond. So we have a ton of searcher power in here, but some of it we can't keep until we get to OP-13, right? For example, this Monkey D. Garp we don't have access to yet over here in the West, so this is going to have to become something else. If I were to make some immediate revisions to this list to try to make it functioning within OP-12, there are 2 cards that have to go right away, and it is this Monkey D. Garp, and unfortunately it's this 5-cost Ace. And this thing came into play in the very first game I showed off of this new version of the deck. I think this card will actually be very solid for Red Yellow Sabo, given the meta, given the climate of OP-13. We're going to talk about that in just a second. The cards that I would replace these with for the time being, hear me out, guys. Minus 3 cards there, minus 3 cards there. I think what we should do for the time being is go plus 4 of the 3-cost Sanji. Okay, this is a really good card for the to replace what we had there. It's not a searcher, but it is a. I think we want to start going first. And this is a great turn 2 play. It's just a really, really, really good turn 2 play. So this is solid. And then we have 2 spots left in the deck. And you can basically do whatever you want with those remaining 2 spots. If you want to, if you have the budget or if you already have the card, maybe run 2 of the, the 6-cost Kuma. You might want to run a few of these to make it like OP-12 legal. This would be a fine way to approach it. But I will say, guys, I really wish more than anything we had this PRB02 Ace already, but this does not come out until the end of October for us over here in the West, so we're just going to have to make do with what we have. Notice what this card does. 5 cost, 7,000 power. It's already a massive card. It is Ace, so it's searchable by all of the 1-cost ST13 searcher stuff with this Garp and this event here. And look what it does. On play, if you have a face-up life card, okay, you do have to have a face-up life card, play up to 1 Sabo, Ace, or Luffy with the cost of 2 from your hand or trash. The thing that makes this card really insane, I'll probably end up going up to 4 of these at some point. But this card is actually really, really insane for Red Yellow Sabo because we can recycle this card. We can just continuously recycle this card into our life and start getting the effect over and over and over again. And I think that will help us sit around 7,000 power with our 2-cost characters, right? Because understand how this works, guys. We're going to be able to play this card out and get a 2-cost character from our trash that we counted out with earlier or that we've already used before. Well, now we get further value from it. Okay, well, eventually we'll run out of these aces, right? Not really. Not really, right? Because we can actually push one of these aces into our life, and then from there, if we have another ace in our hand, that's where things get really crazy because we could start looping these 5-cost 7K, PRB02 aces, where it's like, okay, I'm going to play out a 5-cost ace, and let's pretend 1 ace is already in our life for this example. Well, the loop would look like this. We play out the second ace, pulling a 2-cost ace from our trash because we have a face-up life card, right? And if you have a face-up life card, play up to 1 Sabo, Ace, or Luffy with a cost of 2 from your hand or trash. Okay, well, since we have the face-up Ace already in our life, we'll play out the new one, getting the 2-cost Ace out, and then cheating out the 5-cost Ace, and going from there. And by the way, if we cheat that out, we get to grab another Ace. So now they have to attack into that, and it just becomes a real nightmare. It becomes a real nightmare for our opponent. Okay, so I think there's going to be some potential there for sure. I mean, another thing is we don't even have to combo it in that way. We can actually just take a hit. So say we have ace in our life. Like say we have to start recycling this card. Just push it into life. Take the hit from our opponent next turn. Now it's in our hand, and now we can attack him with a character for the turn. Play out this card. Push the card we need into our life, and then play this out and go from there. So really, really powerful interaction for us. I think it's not as strong in red-yellow Sabo as it will be in blue-yellow Ace and black-yellow Luffy, but I think it's still going to be very strong even within red-yellow Sabo. Now, why is this so important? Why am I starting to switch direction into this? Because I even showed off in blue-yellow Ace in yesterday's video. I think the correct call going forward for the three brothers, the ST-13 set, it's going big power, like leader power. I think that is the best way to deal with the game currently. The way OP-13 is, the way that One Piece is trending is big, okay? They're trying to get rid of as much removal as possible. It feels like Bandai's starting to really pull back on removal, and they're starting to not just pull back on removal, but even print more characters that have anti-removal. So it's like a double whammy. We're losing removal, and characters are becoming harder to remove, okay? Well, as a natural side effect to that, what ends up happening is you have a lot of decks that are just trying to flood the board now because there is no penalty for flooding the board anymore, right? There is no like, okay, well, what if I fully flood the board here and my opponent removes all my characters? Well, they can't, right? That's just not possible anymore. Not that it ever truly was. You know, there is no like really, you know, there's not really a board clear in this game like there is in Magic the Gathering, where it's like an event that just pay for and removes the board, right? You know, in Magic the Gathering, there was a card called Day of Judgment, or it was called Wrath of God. There was a few different kind of cards like it. It wasn't just one card, but it was a pretty cheap card, and it would just wipe the entire board, both sides of the board. Not just your opponent's side, your side and your opponent's side. And it was pretty cheap because of that, because it just clears everything, and you kind of start off on a blank slate with more resources than before. Well, in One Piece, that never really existed in event form. I've heard a lot of people talk about how, like, you know, there is some board clear in this game in the form of, like, you know, 9-cost Shanks, the 9-cost Black Shanks. Let me put that on the screen real quick. This card right here. You know, this can technically clear cards on the board, and if you can drop everything's cost down, you can technically clear the whole board. Same thing with Kaido and Lin from purple. Let me bring up the purple cards. There's the 10-cost Kaido if your leader is the Animal Kingdom Pirates, and then there's the 10-cost Kaido and Lin when attacking to wipe the board. But that's not really. Those aren't really the best cards, right? I think that's why we don't see any of the cards I just mentioned. It's like I think the only proper way to do board clear in a card game when there is a board state, or let me rephrase that. I think the only proper way to be able to do board clear within the One Piece trading card game and it actually be effective is for it to be like a 5 or 6 cost event that trashes the whole board, and maybe, you know, you have to rest your leader to do it, so that way you can't clear the board and then attack with your leader. It'd have to be something like that. But here's the problem. Nowadays, that won't even do anything to something like Emu, because all their characters are protected. Any kind of green deck that runs Tashigi or Rosinante, you're protecting your board like that. There's just so much anti-removal that I don't even know if a board clear would help anymore, unless first it negated all the characters' effects and then went from there. But whatever the case is, that's not what we have. That is not what we have access to, so here we are. So the basic reaction is, well, if they can't punish us for flooding the board, we're just going to flood the board, right? That's where we're at. We're just going to flood the board like crazy, and whoever floods the board the best, or whoever can just run down the other player the best, well, they're going to win. There is no in-between anymore. There is no, like, okay, well, you're going to try to flood the board, now I'm just going to clear out your characters one by one. It's like now it's coming down to who can flood the board the best versus who can prevent the board flood the best. And that's why I think Bonnie's doing very well right now in OP-12. And then going into OP-13, we're starting to see like Red Blue Ace and even Emu. And I think to some extent also Red Purple Roger. But I think Emu and Red Blue Ace are starting to do really, really well. And Zoro, I'll explain Zoro in a minute. But Emu and Ace, they basically just make it to the late game. And they just flood the board like crazy, while also going pretty tall in the case of Ace. And Ace is also a 6,000 power leader, which I think has some merit as well. Something else to talk about. It's a whole other factor. But it's just the way they're flooding the board and the way they're defensively built. and the way that there's no more removal in the format to deal with what they're doing, it is shaping up a very specific meta in the East right now. Now, Zoro's a little bit different because he has a way to tap characters down and attack into them. So it's almost like a whole brand new form of removal. Same thing with Bonnie. Okay, well, oh, I can't remove your character? Okay, no problem. I'll just tap it down and deal with it from there. So there are things going on there, right? Now, all that to say, how does that apply to Red Yellow Sabo? Well, I think the only way we can deal with this is by going higher in power. Because if we can make our leader into a 8,000 or 7,000 power, 8,000 attacking with our leader effect, right? Attach one Dawn. If we do this, one of these 2-cost character effects, we become an 8,000 power leader on attack and 7,000 power on defense. If we can go up to 7,000 power, that's going to help in 2 different ways, right? And probably in more than 2 different ways, but in 2 major ways. Number 1, we get to attack bigger with our leader into our opponent's board. Now, we can gain life in Red Yellow Sabo pretty much whenever we want to. We can basically gain life anytime we want to with our leader effect. We lose board state, but we can gain life if needed. But if we're just a 5,000 or 6,000 power leader, that's not going to help me attack in to like something that's like a 9,000 power character, right? However, if I decide to, cheat out one of these characters from my life with one of the 2-cost characters, well, now I'm a 7,000 power character, or leader rather, and now I can just attach some Dawn, and I'm swinging into the board for 9,000. Okay, so it's making our leader bigger, which is helping us attack more aggressively, and then the second thing, defensively, now it's harder for my opponent to crack through. If my opponent is attacking 7,000 power across the board, like what we're seeing Emu do, and like what we're seeing a lot of decks do right now, Red Black Sabo, the new OP-13 Red Black Sabo, Emu, Goldie Roger, and even Red Blue Ace, these guys are starting to build such a massive board. They're swinging for 7s, 8s, 9s, and above all the time. Well, if I'm just a 5,000 power leader, how do you want me to compete with that? I'm just going to get run over. I can gain as much life as I want. It's not going to help me prevent all these insane attacks from just running me over, right? And that's kind of the idea here. Well, that's where the 2-cost characters come in. If you're attacking me for 7,000 and I'm a 5,000 power leader, well, that's pretty rough. I have to give you 2 cards from hand. But if you're attacking into me and I'm a 7,000 power leader and you're only attacking for 7, well, that's just 1 card from hand, and I can deal with that. And it could even be a 1K counter, right? Something like this Garp later in the game, or, one of these Garps, whatever. So it really does change the math enough, I think, to give us a decent enough spot in the meta where we can probably compete a little bit. And I think that will be the way going forward. At least that's my thoughts on it. You guys tell me what y'all think. What else? Another thing to consider about this package within Red Yellow Sabo is some of the best success that I've had with Red Yellow Sabo, just, on a local level and even just like on the sim, playing games and stuff. The more aggressive we are, the better a lot of times, because we don't want to go late game against some of these other decks right now. Like I said, Red Blue Ace, Emu, and even Red Purple Roger to some extent, and other decks as well. We don't want to deal with their late game. It's just too powerful. It's like, notice everything we have on the screen here. None of this can really compete with what other decks are doing in the late game. Even Red Black Sabo. Red Black Sabo is just going, okay, I'm going to play out an 8-cost character that cheats out another 8-cost character, really, because it'll be the 6-cost Secret Sabo. Let me put that on the screen real quick. There's a 6-cost Secret Sabo coming out in OP-13, this right here, and every turn you can activate main and increase its cost by 2 and giving a Dawn to your leader. So you end up having like an 8,000 power blocker, and then you have like a 9,000 power dragon from Red Black Sabo's leader effect. It just becomes really, really powerful. It's like, okay, how are we supposed to keep up with this? Even Kuzan, guys, even Kuzan right now is going 8-cost into 8-cost. Green Purple Luffy has Luffy Taro cheating out, 8Ks into 7Ks. Really crazy stuff going on right now, right? Well, I think our only chance of dealing with that is in 2 main ways. We have to increase our power of our leader, like I was saying, and then we have to go super aggressive on the board, I think. We have to put them down to a point where they don't feel comfortable curving out against us anymore. Like, no, I can't keep curving out or they're going to run me over next turn. I'm going to have to do something like play out some blockers and go from there. Which now, okay, cool. Now that we've slowed the game down, like what we saw in the game that I showed today with Red Green Luffy, okay, well now the ball's back in it's in my hands now, right? now I can do what I want from here. I'm on offense now. I get to choose where my attacks go. Oh, you want to block out defensively there to save a card from hand? Well, now I'm going to go everything into that character. And now you're going to lose that character, and you drew no cards from your life. So it lets us, like, take the, take control of the game in a weird way. Even though we're an aggro deck, it lets us take control of the game just by being aggressive enough where they have to stop playing cards out on curve to get super strong into the late game. So that aggro really does a lot for us there. And then last but not least, I think I said there were two things to go over. The first thing being how aggressive we are lets us dictate the pace of the game if we can be aggressive enough. The second thing is this. Sabo has one of the most, disgusting combo turns. I used to call it going nuclear with red, yellow Sabo, where it's like, okay, for like 5 Dawn, or excuse me, on a 10 Dawn turn, for 5 Dawn, we're going to slam down Luffy. We're going to swing in for 7, attach a Dawn to our leader. We're going to push the Luffy back to life. We're going to play out the 2-cost Luffy, cheat it out, swing for 7, and then swing for whatever else on our leader, or go from there. And with this effect, with our leader's effect, we're buffing another character by 2,000. Maybe we'll swing for 8 with Shanks and finish off with a 9k attack with our leader. And out of nowhere, it looks like we only have 2 attacks on the board. Well, we actually have 4, and they're all coming in for 7s and higher. So it's one of those things where I think if we're playing to our strongest suit, I think Sabo's best potential, or the most potential that Red Yellow Sabo has, I think is in a more aggressive route. And that's probably how Bandai intended for ST13 to be. Let me bring up ST13. That's the set that this came out in, right? Red Yellow Sabo, Blue Yellow Ace, and Black Yellow Luffy. These all came out in the same set for those who are not aware. And I think the way that Bandai intended for this to go was Red Yellow Sabo was probably meant to be the more aggro deck. Blue Yellow Ace was meant to be the more control deck. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then Black Yellow Luffy was probably meant to be the more mid-range, tanky bruiser deck that just attacks in every turn and gains 2 life a turn to get out of it, right? Well, that ended up not being the case. For the most part, Black Yellow Luffy became the control deck, and then Blue Yellow Ace became the mid-range deck, for what it's worth. Now, who knows? You can build these leaders however you want to, but that's kind of the way it panned out. I think that was Bandai's intention. I just think they got the blue, yellow, and black, yellow a little bit mixed up, because the way it seems, or who knows, maybe that's what they intended, but the way it seems to me is Red Yellow Sabo was meant to be, or is best as aggro. Blue Yellow Ace is probably best as mid-range, and Black Yellow Luffy is best as control. But again, that could be its entire own video, guys. What is aggro, mid-range, and control within the One Piece trading card game? That could be its own entire video, which I do plan on covering at some point. I messed around with that way back when I first started my channel, but I think I want to revisit that topic very soon. Okay, so again, let's just kind of summarize by saying this. I think you could still build Red Yellow Sabo in a more like tanky mid-range tempo direction, especially in Revo Army right now, because we have, especially since we have what's his name, Kuma. We have the 6-cost Kuma, and I think, like I said, the last video that I put out on Red Yellow Sabo was more of a it was much more of a deck that curved out with Kuma. This is not it. I had a Red Yellow Sabo list. Let me see if I can find it, guys. It was in OP-12. It was a Revo Sabo. This is it. Sorry, guys. That I don't know what that last one was. That was something I'm working on. But it was this right here. This is just a pure Revo Army list for Red Yellow Sabo. And I'm not going to lie. It does pretty well. Like, all things considered, the deck does do okay. But here's the problem. In OP-12, you probably can get away with running this version of the build, and it probably will do just fine. But going into OP-13, this deck is not fast enough to, like, win early. So you're just building into a late game that I don't think you can win. And that's my problem going into OP-13 with Red Yellow Sabo when it comes to the more mid-range and control route. Okay, you have a lot of very powerful cards in the deck, and you can gain life, and you can do all kinds of different things from there. But how good is your opponent's late game? That's what you really have to ask yourself. You're going to have to ask yourself that every single game with Red Yellow Sabo. Hang on. I have to elaborate on that, guys. Maybe that's what we need to do. And maybe that is the true beauty, the true strength of Red Yellow Sabo, is we can kind of choose how aggressive and how controlling we want to be over the course of the game. And if we can make a list that allows us to adapt to that strategy, that will probably be our best bet moving forward. So that way, when I sit across the table from my opponent and I see, okay, what are you running? Oh, okay, you're running a deck that wants to make it to the late game. Well, all right, if that's the case, no thanks. I guess we're going to end this game early on, or I'm going to try to end the game early on, and you're going to have to dedicate everything to stopping me, and now we can slow the game down, and I can play to that strength while having some type of tempo or advantage. Or maybe we sit down across from our opponent and see, oh, you're running an aggressive deck, an aggro deck. All right, well, I have something in store for you. You know, I have just the thing for you. We're going to slow this game down. I'm going to gain life every turn with my leader effect, and I'm just going to eat your board up. We're going to go late game and go from there. So, again, maybe that's the direction we need to go moving forward, but I don't think this Revo Army list can do that. And one more thing I want to mention is this card right here. I don't know how strong Kuma is for us. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I haven't had a lot of testing with this card. I have messed around with it with Red Yellow Sabo, and I'm not really in love with what it's doing because we already gain a life every turn. So, like, using this Kuma, I mean, yes, we could technically play out Kuma, gain a life, and then push Kuma to our life and gain 2 life in 1 turn. But what does that do for us? We just lost our board. We lost a card from hand. We lost a card from the board, and that was 7 Dawn for the turn gone. We have 3 Dawn left on a 10 Dawn turn. What exactly does that do? That just lets our opponent take another turn to build up and go from there. They don't have to attack into us if they don't want to. So it really comes down to, you know, is Kuma what we really need right now in Red Yellow Sabo? I think the answer is no, personally. I wish we had better ways to flood the board, like with this 5-cost Ivankov, because one thing I mentioned a lot in yesterday's video with Blue Yellow Ace is these decks that are flooding the board, they're about to just be able to run rampant because there is no way to keep them in check. There is no board clear in this game. So that is something I wish Red Yellow Sabo had more access to. I wish all the 3 brothers had more access to that, but they really don't. Yes, they can kind of do weird tricks from life to flood the board a little bit, especially Black Yellow Luffy. Blue Yellow Ace and Red Yellow Sabo, they can't really flood the board in the way that Black Yellow Luffy can, because Black Yellow Luffy puts 2 specific cards into life with their leader effect, and then they can play out these 2-cost characters to get them into play. I'm not saying it's that easy anymore now that Gecko's gone, but that's what made this leader so strong, is not only are they going to, you know, back when Gecko Moria was in the game, not only was this leader going to 9,000 power pretty much every single turn, but it's also flooding the board in the process. And with the 5-cost Black Sabo, you're also making your entire board un-KOable. So really good stuff there. Really, really powerful. Okay, let's go back to the deck for today's video. This is where I'm leaning towards right now. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Today was just a yap fest, guys. We were just yapping it up, but hey, we need to talk about these things as a community, especially the Red Yellow Sabo players. What direction are we supposed to go with these 3 brothers leaders? Now, I don't know if you guys are picking up on the pattern here. You know, oh wait, what's this? Yesterday we did Blue Yellow Ace. Oh wait, what's this? Today we're doing Red Yellow Sabo. I wonder what I'm going to cover tomorrow. Probably Red Zoro. I don't know. We'll have to see. But no, seriously, we're going to be messing around with Black Yellow Luffy tomorrow and talking about the direction for this leader. Because, I mean, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek up front here. I think this leader needs to be handled the same way. And I think that the ST-13 3 Brothers leaders have a very unique spot in the OP-12 and OP-13 meta. Especially once we get this card right here. We need this card. Like, we desperately need this card. It does not come out for another, what, I mean, I'm recording this on September 5th. It comes out in almost 2 months away. But once we have access to this card, I think we're going to be able to do some pretty awesome stuff with these 3 brothers leaders, because I think the direction of the game is going towards increase the power of your leader, okay, and flood the board. That seems like it's the new direction of the game going forward, and that's fine. We just have to adapt. I think we should just be happy and thankful right now for all the ST-13 leader players out there. At least our leaders can adapt to some extent. I think we're going to be able to do that just fine, but we'll have to see. Only time will tell. Okay, I'm about done, guys. I'm done yapping here. Tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. How are you building Red Yellow Sabo, guys? We have an entire Red Yellow Sabo channel over on the Discord. Be sure to stop by and check that out. But This is a leader that I really love. Okay, I spent a lot of time mastering this leader for, just to give a quick history lesson, to give a little bit of VV lore for any of the new listeners out there, any of the new players. When I first started my channel, which was back in set 2, all the way back in OP-02 and Block 1, that was when Black entered the game, okay? And then Yellow came out in OP-13, okay? Or in OP-13, in OP-03, excuse me. The 2 3s got me there. But no, in OP-01, there was only red, green, blue, and purple in the game. In OP-02, they introduced Black. In OP-03, they introduced Yellow. Well, I immediately fell in love with Black and Yellow as a color pairing. And then eventually, I really started locking in on Yellow. But at the time, with Black, Yellow being my favorite color, and with the channel starting off, I went down an entire arc of Black, Yellow, Lin. Guys, let me get that. Let me get the that leader on here. Hang on, guys. We got to put that leader on here real quick. Whoops. Okay. I went through an entire arc here on the channel of just straight up Black, Yellow, Lin, trying to master it, trying to get the best out of it, and really focusing on taking this leader to the next level. Well, after that was done, probably around OP-07, I went through that for about 3 or 4 sets. And around OP-07, or it might have been OP-06 or 7, yeah, I started messing around with Red Yellow Sabo, and I pretty much never looked back. Now, as of late, I have taken a small break from this leader, but that was after putting in about a year's worth of going all in. It was like the whole entire Red Yellow Sabo arc here on the channel. So I do want to see this leader succeed. Even though I don't play it as much as I used to, I'm still completely interested in seeing this leader do well in the format, and I think it can. I think it actually can. I don't know how well it can do. I'm not saying it's going to win you a regional or something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're a Red Yellow Sabo advocate, if you're a Red Yellow Sabo specialist, you can probably be an absolute menace at your locals with this deck, and who knows, maybe we can push it to the next level as well. We'll have to see. Again, tell me what you guys are building down in the comment section below. Tell me what's working out for you when it comes to Red Yellow Sabo. All right, I'm done. That's enough. Let's get the outro on here, guys. I appreciate everybody who made it this far. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help me out, using my TCG player affiliate link. If you're donating through Patreon or PayPal, if you're a Playmat supporter, a YouTube member, or part of the Discord community. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, guys. And I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, peace.